Imagine being completely lost. No phone, no flashlight, not even a GPS device to help you. You're deep in a forest that seems endless, surrounded by tall trees that block out the sun and muffle any sound. Everywhere you look, there's thick undergrowth, damp earth, and the occasional glimpse of curious animal darting through the shadows. A chill wind rustles the leaves, sending goosebumps across your skin. You know it's getting dark and there's not a single light or landmark in sight. Fear begins to creep in.
Yes.
You realize that if you don't get out soon, you might never escape this place. Now imagine that you're not just alone, but also have no map, no compass, and no shelter. And to make things worse, you have to do this every single day. For most of us, this scenario would be a nightmare. We'd probably panic, make irrational decisions, and potentially put ourselves in even more danger. But for our ancestors, this was not a terrifying ordeal. It was simply life. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's close to my heart. I want to talk about how ancient people conquered nature without an ounce of fear. I know it sounds hard to believe, but it's true. And understanding how they did it can teach us some valuable lessons about resilience, adaptability, and respect for the world around us. So grab your metaphorical walking stick and join me on this journey through time as we uncover the secrets of our ancestors' fearless existence in nature. Deep in the heart of wilderness. Before we dive into the topic, I want to ask you something. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. You're standing in the middle of a dense forest. The air is thick with the smell of pine needles and damp earth. Overhead, the canopy of leaves creates a mosaic of light and shadow on the forest floor. The only sounds are the rustling of leaves and the gentle breeze and the distant call of a bird. Now open your eyes. What do you see? Fear, anxiety, or maybe a sense of adventure? For many of us today, this setting might trigger a sense of unease or even terror. We might worry about getting lost, encountering wild animals, or facing other dangers that the wilderness might throw our way. But for our ancestors, this was their everyday reality. They didn't just survive in these conditions, they thrived. They raised families, built communities, and sustained themselves without the safety nets we often rely on today. Let's take, for example, the ancient civilizations that thrived in the Amazon rainforest. The indigenous tribes who called this place home for centuries had an intimate knowledge of the forest. They understood its rhythms, its language, and its bounty. They knew which plants provided food and medicine, which animals could be safely hunted, and which were best left alone. They built their homes using materials from the forest itself, blending seamlessly into their surroundings. Similarly, the indigenous peoples of the Kalahari Desert in Africa developed unique skills to thrive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. They learned to navigate by the stars, track animals over vast distances, and find water in the most arid regions. Their deep connection to the land allowed them to flourish where others would have perished. These are just two examples of many. From the Arctic to the Antarctic, from the mountains to the seas, our ancestors found ways to conquer the challenges posed by nature, not with fear, but with knowledge, instinct, and courage. Decoding nature's language. One of the key elements of their success was their ability to decode nature's language. Our modern world often makes us feel like we're disconnected from the natural world, live in cities, use technology, and rely on systems that shield us from the elements.
Yes.
As a result, many of us have lost the innate ability to read the signs around us. But our ancestors didn't have that luxury. They had to learn to read the subtle cues that nature provides. The direction of the wind, the smell of rain, the sound of thunder, the flight patterns of birds, and the behavior of animals all provided clues about the world around them. This wasn't just about survival. It was about thriving. Understanding the language of nature enabled our ancestors to predict weather patterns, locate resources, and navigate unfamiliar territories. It gave them the confidence to travel, explore, and settle in new lands. They passed this knowledge down through generations, creating a rich oral tradition that kept their cultures strong and their communities resilient. Facing the elements. When it comes to surviving in nature, one of the most significant challenges is facing the elements, where they can be unpredictable and extreme. From scorching heat waves to freezing blizzards, our ancestors had to develop ingenious ways to cope with these extremes. They learned to build shelters that provided protection from rain, wind, and snow. They created tools and clothing that helped them work and hunt in harsh conditions. And they developed techniques to start fires that provided warmth and a sense of security. Take, for instance, the Inuit people of the Arctic. They've thrived for centuries in one of the coldest environments on Earth. Their traditional clothing, made from animal skins, is designed to trap layers of warm air close to the body. Their shelters, often built from ice and snow, can withstand the harshest winter storms. And their tools are crafted to function efficiently in sub-zero temperatures. Similarly, the Bedouin tribes of the Sahara Desert have mastered the art of living in one of the hottest environments on Earth. Their tents, called Bedouins, are designed to catch the wind, allowing for air circulation and keeping the interior relatively cool. Their clothing is loose and lightweight, protecting them from direct sunlight without trapping too much heat. And they travel during the cooler hours of the day to avoid the midday heat. These are just two examples of many. Each culture developed unique strategies and technologies to conquer the challenges posed by their environment, embracing the unknown. Despite their resourcefulness, our ancestors didn't have all the answers. Nature is inherently unpredictable, and there will always be unknowns. Floods, droughts, storms, and diseases are just some of the challenges that can arise. Our ancestors couldn't prevent these events, but they learned to adapt and recover. They developed agricultural techniques that maximized the use of limited water resources. They created social structures that helped them pool resources and support each other during tough times. And they passed down stories and traditions that taught younger generations how to face adversity with courage. This ability to embrace the unknown, to accept that not everything can be controlled, is perhaps the most valuable lesson we can learn from our ancestors. It's a lesson that can help us navigate the challenges of modern life with more grace and resilience. A legacy of respect. Perhaps the most important aspect of how our ancestors conquered nature without fear was their deep respect for the natural world. They didn't view nature as something to be conquered or dominated, but as a living, breathing entity that should be respected and honored. This respect wasn't just a philosophical concept, it was a practical way of life. They understood that they were part of the ecosystem, not separate from it. They lived accordingly. They harvested resources in a sustainable manner, causing minimal damage to the environment. They honored the animals they hunted by using every part of their bodies and avoiding waste. And they celebrated the cycles of nature, planting and harvesting according to the seasons. This deep respect wasn't just about preserving the environment for future generations. It was about recognizing the inherent value of all living things. It was a way of life that valued balance, harmony, and interconnectedness. As we come to the end of our journey, I want to leave you with this. Our ancestors didn't conquer nature without fear. They lived with nature, embracing its challenges, respecting its power, and learning its language. They didn't have the safety nets we often rely on today, yet they thrived. They faced the elements head-on, finding innovative ways to protect themselves from the forces of nature. They embraced the unknown, accepting that life is unpredictable and that challenges are inevitable. And above all, they did it with respect, recognizing that we are all connected to the natural world and that our survival depends on its health. I hope this video has inspired you to appreciate the resilience, adaptability, and wisdom of our ancestors. I'm here to guide you through more journeys of discovery on Forgotten Path. Join us next time as we uncover more stories of human resilience, ingenuity, and the enduring spirit of our ancestors. Until then, stay curious, stay adventurous, and remember, the most extraordinary stories are often the ones that have been forgotten.